Hi everyone, welcome to Mills Family Gardening. My name is Dina and today I'm going to start some flowers from seeds. I'm going to start 3 kinds of flowers. The first one is Salvia Roemeriana Ariba. This is supposed to be a Texas native flower. Then I'm going to plant some pansies, and another one, I have some Shasta daisy seeds that I got for free. Right now it's too hot to start them outdoors, so I'm going to keep them under the grow light indoors, and when it cools down at end of September, middle of October, I'm going to take them outside and plant them outside in pots or in ground. All these seeds are pretty small, so I'm not going to cover them with the soil. I'm just going to keep them on top of the soil. I'll push them lightly so they would be in contact with the soil, and then every day I will be using this spray bottle and simply spray them with water gently so the seeds wouldn't get buried into the soil, and I'm going to make sure they stay moist until they start sprouting. The potting soil that I used was extremely dry, so I had to put it in the box and mix it with a lot of water so it would be soggy wet, and only after that I filled up all these cells with it. So now I'm going to put the seeds under the grow lights inside of the house, and I'm going to make sure that every day or maybe even twice a day I would spray it with water so the seeds would stay moist. Today is September 10th and almost all of our seeds have come up. Some of them did not come up for various reasons. One of them is that our little baby has gotten into some of the seeds, but it's okay. I intentionally planted a lot of the seeds, just knowing that some of them will not come up at all. So now I'm going to keep them in a spot that gets only morning sun and full afternoon shade so that they would be adjusted to being outside, and as they grow taller, I'll transplant them in their permanent place. Today is October 8th. It's been 2 months since I started seeds, and here they are. Our little seedlings have grown. These are all pansy seedlings. These are Shasta daisies, and these are salvias. So today I'm going to transplant pansies into the smaller pot, and Shasta daisies will go into the larger pot. So I'm going to fill up the pots with some wood chips on the very bottom to save some potting soil and compost. We also have leftovers from our Christmas tree from last year, so I'm going to put them on the bottom of the pots also to fill up some space and not to use up too much potting soil. Also have some tree bark here that I'm going to put in the bottom, and some leaves. I'm not going to put too much brush in the pots because the roots of these seedlings need soil to grow in well. And now I'm going to fill up these pots with our homemade compost. I put some llama manure, some kitchen scraps. We also have some coffee grounds in here, some dry leaves, but you can see that mostly it's pretty fine. It looks pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill up the pots with our homemade compost. Whenever you plant seeds, it's always a good rule to overplant them because something always gets the seedlings, like insects or little babies or animals or weather conditions. So in this small pot, I'm going to plant pansies, and I'm going to take, for example, this little tray of pansies, and you can see that they're looking pretty healthy. They aren't very big. I should have started the seeds earlier, probably in July instead of August. And here they are. You can see that they have a pretty healthy root system. I'm gonna put them in the same depth they were in their seedling tray. So now I'm just gonna push them slightly into the soil so the roots would get in contact with the soil. And we planted our pansy seedlings. Now we're gonna plant our Shasta daisy seedlings. I'm gonna take out this tray, and again I'm just gonna press on the sides gently and try to get them out of the seedling tray. So I'm gonna put 2 of them in the center and the rest of them around them. These Shasta daisies are supposed to get tall, so that's why I'm putting them in a large pot, and this is going to be their permanent place of growing. In case we have really cold winter, I'm going to bring the pot into the garage and protect them from the freeze. And again, all I'm going to do is just make a little hole and plant them in the same depth that they were growing in their seedling tray, and push them a little bit to let the roots be in contact with the soil. Our compost is pretty moist, so I didn't water it in advance. If your soil or potting soil or whatever growing medium you're using is dry, then it would be good to water it and make it moist. Some of the seedlings don't have a large root system, that's why they kind of fell apart, but it's okay, I'm going to put them in the soil anyway. And in this homemade compost, they should be happy. I'm just gonna water them. Today is March 25th and our pansies are finally blooming. It took them quite a long time. Next time I'm going to start seeds much earlier, but they're looking pretty in our homemade compost. And actually the homemade compost settled down as it was breaking down through the winter. But pansies tend to be a little bit leggy sometimes, like the ones in the back right there. Right now they're sticking up from the pot too much. And so these pansies actually settled down with the compost and now they're looking perfect. When pansy flowers are done blooming and wilt, simply remove the flowers, and that way you will encourage flower production and just overall well-being of the pansies. Today is April 7th. All last year I tried to keep the Salvia Roemeriana ariba in a container, but it did not bloom much because the container was so small that it was not producing full flowers. The flowers would not open. And so last fall I decided to plant it in the ground here. It did not bloom too much last year, but you can see that now in April it's putting out a lot of new flowers. And just yesterday my daughters told me that they've noticed a few hummingbirds feeding on the flowers. If you struggle growing salvias in containers, just put them on the ground and they will produce a ton of flowers for you. Today is May 26th and our Shasta daisy is blooming beautifully. You can see that it has 2 open flowers and it has a few more flower buds that are coming up and they're about to open soon. Shasta daisy did not do well in the container where I put them into originally. Our summers are so hot in Texas that the container was drying out so fast. I had to water them literally every 2 hours during our Texas summers. So I decided to move them into the ground and they're doing much better. Today the temperature is supposed to be 98 degrees Fahrenheit and you can see that they're doing really well even though I did not water them today yet. I moved the Shasta daisy last fall and it already sent some new plants. I guess the roots underground send new plants. This one is all new. So Shasta daisies, they multiply pretty easily. We have drip irrigation in this garden bed and I fertilize all these plants with liquid fish fertilizer and more bloom. So Shasta daisy is really benefiting from all that water and fertilizer. Even though we started our flower seeds a while ago, it's been fun to experiment with growing 3 types of flowers. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you and gave you some ideas. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.